All right, y'all. Welcome into the LA Sports Brotherhood. It's me, Brian, here with my brother Matthew, and we're rounding out the offensive position group previews with the receiving room. And honestly, we're pretty in lockstep with a lot of our opinions. We feel the same way. I think this is going to be one where we actually kind of feel differently. So, can you tell us about the receiving room right now?
Yeah, so it's a brand new room. Who we've lost? We've lost Brandon Rice, Taj Washington, Dorian Singer headed to Utah, and Mario Williams headed to Tulane, which is funny enough, if you know, you know. And also Michael Jackson left. Who we've added? Just Jaden Richardson. Uh, Maybe not gonna have the biggest impact, but yeah, the projected starters are all returners who didn't really get a lot of run last year. Zachariah Branch, absolutely electric. Deuce Robinson, Makai Lemon, and I have Kyron Hudson. Jacoby Lane's also going to get a lot of run. Typically, we've seen just like six starters and they just kind of rotate, 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 unless your name is Jordan Addison because he was unbelievable and now he's great in the NFL with the Vikings. But yeah, like you said, difference of opinions. I think mine just comes from you have there's so much potential with this group that it's unbelievable. But I also see your point with being a high floor. I mean, sorry, a low floor. But the thing is, you mentioned something that in the past one of the past videos, I'm not sure which one it was, and I really agreed with it. It was like Caleb Williams dragged this offense last year, like just completely dragged it. There wasn't good receiving, there wasn't a good O line, and we're throwing Miller Moss into it and saying, "Here you go, play against the Big Ten." For this, I honestly believe that um, you said we lost receivers. Now we're giving it to Miller Moss. I think that's a good thing in terms of Finger and Williams. I love Taj Washington. We're definitely gonna miss him. Brendan Rice too. But I think it's a good thing that this is actually a new look, and that even though we've lost so many guys and we haven't really added anyone besides Richardson, I like that because you have three top 100 players and two top 25 players, two legit five stars, one of which is literally the most explosive player we've had since Reggie Bush, and the other is a 6'6" freak with long arms and incredibly fast, who also plays baseball. Makai Lemon, I'm really high on him. Great route runner, great hands, speed, all of that. Kyron Hudson's a nice piece. He's a really cool guy. He's a good player. Not going to be like a one or anything, but he'll be productive for us. And Jacoby Lane, who has unbelievable hands and can make contested catches. I'm really high on this group, but also Zach and Deuce need to be the guys they were recruited as. Branch, he has the ability to be my favorite Trojan ever, just because he's so freaking fun to watch. He's so explosive. We saw it in every single punt return. He's got to be able to create separation, run routes, and catch the ball. He has to have hands. If he can do that, if Duke can do the same, this is an elite receiving room. But I do see your point where like, well, Branch really didn't, get going. You really didn't get separation like that. Same with Deuce. But they really didn't get the opportunity. So I think with these guys, a whole nother year of practice and getting every single snap, I think they will be good. The one thing I think you'll probably bring it up. The one concern I have is none of them are very physical, specifically Jacoby Lane. I mean, I think he had a lot of different. He shows trouble to get off press. Really, all of them do, and that's kind of the one thing I'm worried about, especially in the Big Ten with the physical guys. But so I do think like if we go to the portal, which we probably are, get that kind of style of player. 6'1", 6'2", good frame, physical. I think that's the one thing we're missing. But yeah, it's tough having zero experience against LSU, for God's sake, in week one. And it's tough that we have to play them first because I do think all these guys will develop into great receivers. But yeah, what do you think about
Yeah.
this group?
So, basically, this is what I'm thinking. You alluded to a little bit. I think this is ironically probably the most high end physical talent we've had since Lincoln Riley's been here in the receiving room, which makes it funny to me that I feel the lowest about any group, like since Lincoln's been here about this group. I don't. Zach Branch is an incredible weapon, and I think he will be good. Not even just good. I think he will be great, but he is still has still just been used as a guy like, oh, we have to find a way to get him in space. Like that was the idea. That's why I genuinely believe him and Taj Washington were the reason they started running that triple option with the little dump off thing that I kind of hated. It was effective enough, but it just it made the flow of the offense really weird. Because you had to find a way to get him in space. That's the idea. To me, a receiver does not need to be found a way to get in space. You just create it running routes and stuff. Because he wasn't getting doubled. And he's very young. This isn't a oh he can't run routes or whatever. It's just that's like a step he needs to take. And I think he can, but he has to take a step. So that's one. Deuce Robinson needs to have stronger hands, in my opinion. He's dropped a lot of balls, but he did get separation. It was late in games, but he needs to take an extra step. I think he needs to. He lost weight. They don't care. Like we, ironically, we don't have a section for tight ends in these position group previews. I guess we can talk about them a little bit in this episode because they don't care about tight ends. They recruited two, Joey Olsen this past year and Deuce Robinson, and then immediately said, "Hey, you can go ahead and be a receiver." They don't give a crap about tight ends, so I guess we're not going to either. But Deuce needs to take a step. He has the ability, unbelievable ability, but needs to take a step. But Kyle Lemon, I think he could be the most consistent type of guy. Him and Miller Moss seem to have a good connection in the Holiday Bowl, but he's young, so that's three guys. And then Jacoby Lane, ironically, double ironic, I guess. He is my favorite receiver of the bunch, if I'm being honest. He is massive. He has stupid hops. He has incredible hands, and he's bulked the hell up. I don't like some of the pictures we've seen. He's like legit big for a 6'4" receiver. I don't know. I feel incredibly good about him, and all of this stuff is positive. But the reason I don't feel supremely confident in this group is because that's all they have. They have 7 scholarship guys on the roster right now. 4 of them are talented question marks. One of them is a stalwart in Kyron Hudson, but he's not particularly great. And then we're going into the Big Ten where you're just going to have to be more physical. Is Zach Branch going to be blocking? Is Zach Branch going to be able to beat hard press coverage every time? I think he could certainly handle it, but it's all of these added adjustments to the young guys' games, and they don't have any insurance. And like you said, you think they'll probably go to the transfer portal. I think they cannot go into this season with this crew. And I was talking to my friend, who's a USC alum. Actually, he ran track there, and he was getting on my case because I was playing it up because I wanted to annoy him. But I was essentially saying the same thing I am now. Like, you cannot go into the season with this receiving core. I don't like it. I don't like the makeup of it. We need more bodies. We need more proven talent. And he was like, no, that's ridiculous. And then a couple days later, Dennis Simmons himself said, absolutely, we are going into the transfer portal. And to me, that kind of just corroborates everything that I've been saying. And like I think is that they know the talent they have, but they also know how much more they need, especially with Miller Moss. Like, you need to give Moss as many looks as possible. I don't think Moss is bad. If you haven't checked, I've talked extensively about this in the we both did in the quarterback preview. You can go check it out. It's on the channel. But you need to have playmakers, a lot of them, and ones that can give you different looks. Thankfully, they do have a lot of different looks. Lane is a massive, like, jump ball type guy. Deuce is a matchup nightmare that has burner speed. Zach Branch is Zach Branch. Makai Lemon is a normal sized receiver that has legitimate quicks. Like, all of these guys are going to be good. It's not even a like if you watch the offensive line when we talk about the future of the team, like the future of the position group, and we're going to talk about it here. When we do, I'm going to say I am incredibly confident in next year being an unbelievable receiver room. But for this year, I need more. I need something proven. I can't. We're depending on four guys to take 1.5 steps up into a new, like in a new league, and with a different quarterback that's not going to play the same. So that's why I'm like, I don't know. I just want. I would like more. I need more. If I'm being honest, not even just would like. I need some more from them. Sorry to. And we both talked for like 5 minutes each. We have a lot of thoughts about this.
I agree with the fact we definitely need proven backup guys, physical guys. I like that, and we're not going to go into the season like this. So I would like some depth guys. I agree with that. I think where we disagree is I don't know if it's just because I'm in love with these young guys. I really believe in this group in terms of those four young guys to all take that 1.5. So you mentioned the 1.5. I genuinely think every single one of them will take that step. I see a group where you have electric speed and quickness with Branch. Oh, and real quick with Branch, I think it's fair to say that he didn't really get that opportunity to be a receiver
That is
because he
fair.
was a freshman. And we mentioned those four guys, Washington State, all those guys were supposed to be, starters. I don't think he got the chance to be a receiver to run a route. It was like Lincoln Riley has this extra weapon. Let's get him in space. Let's do this. Let's do that. I could not stand that. Let him be a freaking receiver because he was
Mhm.
the number one receiver in the country for a reason. And I think if you let him be that, he will be great because, I mean, that guy works at his quickness, route running every single day.
No,
And
yeah,
he's had a few jobs, but he has fairly strong hands. Anyway, that's his Branch. I believe he can be such a lethal weapon downfield, yak, everything. I think Deuce can be just a matchup nightmare for people to have to guard that. If he works on his hands, to ha- and then Makai Lemon. The reason I'm so excited is because you have to guard four of these guys.
yeah,
If you double Branch and Deuce, and you have Jacoby Lane on a one-on-one matchup, you just throw it up. It's a touchdown.
yeah.
That is why I'm so high on it because you put these four skill sets together who are just electric, strong, good hands. Everyone has something about them, and then you have Makai Lemon who just consistency has a good relationship with Moss. There's so many skill sets, so much athleticism and strength to have to guard four of these guys. It's reminding me of like these Ohio State teams we've had with what like or not we've had screw Ohio State, but that they've had with Wilson, JSN, where it's like okay, you're gonna double Olave and Wilson, JSN's gonna beat you one on one. I think this has the potential to be that level of receiving room, where it's like yeah, we're counting on young guys, but if these young guys hit, it's probably going to be the best receiving core in the country.
Yeah, I think that's super fair, especially the Zach Branch point. And frankly, I do agree. Like we watch old college games, and we'll see an Alabama receiver room where it's like, holy crap! It was Henry Ruggs, Calvin Ridley was still there. Like three more guys that are super. Like everyone was a first round pick in the NFL. Like that type of stuff. Genuinely, if in 6 years we look back at this room and it's like Zach Branch, Jacoby Lane, Makai Lemon, Deuce Robinson were all top 20 picks in their drafts, I would be like, okay, that makes sense. They have ridiculous talent. It's to me, I think the biggest thing holding me back from being where you're at is because I actually do kind of expect Lane and Makai to make that progression, to be almost like super solid with the talent that could take them over the top. Zach Branch and Deuce Robinson have unlimited talent and unlimited potential, but I need one of them to take that step, like take a leap and become the lead guy. In case, or they need to get someone that is a true, genuine number one receiver, number one option. They won't get the looks like that because even Jordan Addison didn't get the number one option looks. But everyone in the world knew that Jordan Addison was the best receiver on that team. And last year we did not have anyone like that, and it was a very big issue. This year, right now, we do not have anyone like that. You need a guy that takes attention, where the safety has to shade over a little bit if they're playing cover two, but it's not really like he's really playing on that one side of the ball where Zach Branch is or where Deuce is, and it really opens so much more stuff up for you. And it's just I can. If you told me it happens, I would believe you 100%, and I'll be hyped. It's not like a unbelievable thing, but it's just it has to happen. Right now, there's zero room for error to me, and that's I think the biggest difference is that I fully agree with the way you project how things can go. It's just there's no margin for error. If something doesn't click, we are in a bad position. But it's fine because they know that they're going to bring in at least one receiver. Hopefully, it's. I mean, maybe Jaden Richardson can give us something. They seem really high on him. Be pretty, like a sure-handed guy. I don't know. Whatever. That's not really what I'm thinking about. But yeah, it's they need to bring something else on. Dennis Simmons know that. Lincoln Riley knows that. They're going to bring someone else. It's just got to see what happens from there. But yeah, we've
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
exhausted this. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I think just my last thought is gonna
Yeah.
be, yeah, 100%. Zach Bratch and Deuce, they have to be the one to they have to be the guy on third down. Like they have to. I like I said, I'm confident. I think they will be, because Lemon and Lane are kind of safe to me. I think they're gonna be great.
Yeah.
Branch and Deuce, they were the they were both top three for sure, and just pass catchers in that class.
Mm-hmm.
They might have been one and two.
Brennan Innes was
They're
number one, I think. Sorry. Go
unbelievable.
ahead.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, whatever, like top 3, top 5.
No, I know what you mean.
They have to be like I can see in my dreams like them being like that duo in college that we talk about, especially next year. That's the crazy thing. All of these guys have another year.
Yeah.
But yeah,
That's
I
yeah.
see them being like that. One wears one wears deuce. I mean, big little. I see that I see that duo where it's like on college game day they're gonna have a little short on them because they're that good. I see them being the best duo in the country, but they do need to. They knew not the best duo in the country this year necessarily, but they need to be like studying film. They need to circle him, and the other team they already circled Branch on their
Yeah,
special teams.
100%.
He's Branch is a superstar name already just from being the best punt returner in the country. But
Yeah.
yeah, those two need to be like the guys, the Jordan Addison type, where like they're the best. But and if they do this, this receiving core is going to be lights out. But yeah, it's important to acknowledge there is a floor if they don't hit.
Yeah.
And
No.
so
Yeah.
yeah, I think we've talked extensively about this. Lastly, just how we feel about the future of the receiving room and the coaches. I feel good. I think I'm always gonna feel good. We're wide receiver U. You can argue Ohio State, and rightfully so. But yeah, it's wide receiver U. You have four sophomores. Talked about it for like 10 minutes already. They're incredible. Potential wise, they're incredible. So for the next 2 years, those are going to be the four starters. So we're good on that. We're good on that, especially for next year. Recruiting, I think we're always going to be recruiting receivers. I'm really high on Jordan, Xavier Jordan, Jordan. I don't know which one he prefers. It did suck that we lost Pelham last minute. Last minute, I
Yeah.
think that tandem could have been good, but still, I'm high on Jordan. I think we'll probably get another two receivers in this class. I feel good about the receivers. Frankly, I'm always going to feel good about the receivers. How do you feel?
Yeah. I mean, it's funny because this offseason, everyone's been like, oh, I don't want to talk about receivers. We're always going to have receivers. And I'm like, kind of don't this year, like, which is what I've been talking about. But we're always gonna have receivers. Like I mentioned, and I genuinely believe this will be the best receiving core next year in the country. It's gonna be one of the best USC's ever had. The talent is ridiculous. So even just like the next 2 years in the future, it's gonna be incredible. But yeah, that once if there's the issue with high end receivers in high school recruiting is that they are going to want NIL money, and that's why we haven't gotten any of them since, or except for Branch, who was like full dead on committed to play here, and Lemon, who committed with Nelson. Like it has to be done. Speak frankly, the 5-star guys, they're gonna need NIL money, but it seems like that stance has shifted for USC. And now, if they're even on a semi-even playing field with receivers, they're gonna be flocking in here. And also, even if not, unlike with the offensive line, the receiving transfers have actually hit. Even the ones that were like Dorian Singer, or didn't really like the way he played, it's still like productive enough. But Taj Washington wasn't a transfer during the Lincoln era, but he's a transfer receiver. Brendan Rice transferred over here, and now he's going to get drafted after being in Colorado. Addison, obviously. Mario Williams, for as much as people hate him, he was still fine. I'm not going to go to bat for him because very specific moments, the reason people dislike him. But just generally, they're going to bring in productive guys. It's not an issue for me. I'm looking good. So yeah, I think that'll do it for the offensive position groups. Frankly, and this is crazy to say, I think we're gonna feel more solid about our feelings with the defense than the offense because there's a lot of questions, a lot of well, we need this to happen, we need this to happen throughout the entirety of the offense, which is weird to say for a Lincoln Riley team. But yeah, that'll wrap it up for us. If you haven't seen the other offensive videos, go check them out. Stay on the lookout for the defense position groups. Got a lot of stuff to say there. Yeah, thanks so much for watching. Bye now.